Yo, I wanted to watch this video that I saw from Caffeinated Dad about Guild Wars 2, and I wanted to talk about it, so let's see it.
So, I owe you an apology. Earlier in 2024, I straight up stopped playing Guild Wars 2. Like, nearly cold turkey, didn't even log in. I'm actually thinking back about all the dailies that I missed in that time. And I recently decided that I would log in, mainly because I saw the Janthier Wilds expansion announcement, and I wanted to see what was going on in game. Also, I like Dragon Bash. Dragon Bash is like my favorite seasonal event. And then something kind of clicked with me. But first, here's why I stopped playing Guild Wars 2 for nearly 6 months. So the first major reason that I really needed to stop playing Guild Wars 2 and just take a step back was because I was burnt out. Guys, I was burnt out to hell. For context, that was really the only game that I was playing. That was the only game that I really had time to sit down and play. And then on top of that, as far as a creator standpoint, I was putting out a video like nearly every 3 days. Now, that doesn't sound like it's that difficult. However, when I only had...
Okay, so the reason that I'm watching this video is because I had just stumbled across this. I was literally just like clicking around on YouTube, and I was looking around and stuff, and I saw this video specifically, and I'm making it because, or I'm reacting to it because I watched a couple of Caffeinated Dad Gaming's videos whenever I first started coming to Guild Wars 2. And I got a lot of weird responses to them. A lot of people being like, this guy like sucks. This guy like just jumps from MMO to MMO. He doesn't actually like this game. Don't watch his videos. All these kinds of comments that I thought were kind of strange. And I sort of like got off of his videos and didn't watch any more of them for a while. And but I sort of like scrolled it away in the back of my head. I didn't know the story. I didn't want to go look into it. And I was just kind of like, whatever. And I'm sure there's a lot of like lore here in general. But I'm kind of watching this because I want to give a little bit of perspective to people who have that kind of thought about somebody who makes videos on the internet. I want to give a little bit more perspective to the people out there who feel like they are personally being harmed by somebody who decides that they don't want to play a video game for a little while, that they somehow owe you something because you came out and you watched their videos at one point, and now they have to continue making content about this game forever into perpetuity, at least as long as you continue playing the game, or else they're somehow a bad person. And I think that a lot of that, like, I also, when I was younger, probably had some more of these kinds of thoughts and behaviors about people. Like, oh, they change. Like, I don't like them anymore. All these kinds of things. As I've gotten older, I just realized the personhood that is going on behind the scenes with a lot of this stuff. He's a person, man. I can't play a video game for that long without getting burned out on it. I take breaks from things. Dude, I'll stop playing Guild Wars 2. I guarantee you, I streamed Guild Wars 2 on Friday. Monday, I will stream probably Throne and Liberty or something. Maybe RuneScape. In whatever game I stream, I will get people who will say, oh, so you've quit Guild Wars 2? That is an insane thing to say, because no, I haven't quit it. You are living in a world that's fictitious. You're creating things in your brain to make yourself angry so that you can rage on somebody about something. And it's interesting to me that like your desire to rage on somebody about something comes specifically down to a video game that you play. There are plenty of reasons, that like valid reasons, to be angry in this world. I do not think what video games somebody who makes like videos on the internet makes, like what video game they play and make the videos about, has anything to do or like is remotely justifiable of why you're angry about the thing. I just don't think it is. I do not see your perspective about it at all. Like, genuinely, I don't. It's such an odd thing. It's such a strange, like, young person temper tantrum kind of thing to do. It makes no logical sense to me how them not making videos or not playing the game that you play all the time is somehow affecting to you and like makes them a bad person. There may be a whole bunch of stuff about this guy that I don't know, but all the things that I saw about him were he's just an MMO hopper. He just goes to whatever's shiny. Dude, I play all the MMOs too. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, that's just like so the way some of us are. Like, some of us just play multiple MMOs.
Have 3 to 5 hours of free time that I can actually sit down and do this, which is supposed to be a fun hobby. It ended up becoming incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I
totally, dude.
Found myself...
And the Guild Wars 2 people will watch content about Guild Wars 2. It is wild, dude. You make a video about Guild Wars 2, people show up. Doesn't matter how good or bad your video is or whatever. Like, people like it, dude. People like it so much, and there's just not that many people making content about it.
not enjoying the process like I had used to. And the only time that I was actually just playing the game just to have fun and not log in with a specific purpose to create a video was usually during my streams. And that was
Yeah.
only streaming once a week. And to me, that wasn't enough for me to still be interested into the game without viewing it as work. I was on essentially
Totally,
a
dude.
treadmill of let's just get this next video out. Let's get this focus on what content needs to be done.
This is why I do not make guide videos. One, I'm not any good at it, just to be completely honest. Like, the way I play, I do not suggest other people play. Like, I am a weird, twitchy, ADHD-ridden gamer. If you follow the way that I play in games, you will not play efficiently or effective. People just like me and like playing games with me. It has nothing to do with how good I actually at them. I am not that kind of guy. But also, I just think that it turns the game into a job whenever you're trying to do that, and you like lose some of the love, and the love is what keeps you playing the game, and playing the game is what keeps you interested in making content, and it is a vicious cycle. You know, like, there are so many ways to repackage a concept and an idea about a video game that you are trying to talk about when you are creating content on it. This is going to be a very meta video, so if you don't like that, like, probably, you know, whatever. But like, you have to realize that whenever he's putting out videos, whenever Loranity is posting videos, whenever Muckluck is posting videos, like, they're doing it because they know it's going to get hits on it. You know what I mean? Like, they think it's going to get hits on it. At least they're trying to get hits. Like, that's why people post videos, especially once it becomes somewhat of your career.
Let's just do that and then that's it. I didn't allot myself any other time for anything else, really, just that piece of content. And I felt like that was an unhealthy relationship that I was having with Guild Wars 2 and even my creative career here. It was just straight up work. It wasn't fun. And then on top of that, I actually felt like I was spamming my community too much because I was on this regimen
Yeah,
of a
dude.
video every 3 days. I feel like
Dude, I do it every single day, bro. I post a video every single day of my life. That's why I like the fact that I do a whole bunch of different games, because at least I can do like a RuneScape video today, a Throne and Liberty video tomorrow, a Guild Wars video the day after that, and then the day after that I can do like, you know, a video about Subway or something, and then the day after that I can do like an original video that's not a reaction, and the day after that I can do like, you know, a long stream or so. Like, you can sort of like stagger it out. But like, when you get locked into one thing, dude, and you're just like posting Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 2, like, the people who don't know you very well love that. They love it, dude. You'll get 20, 30, 40,000 views of video. They'll be coming out to hang out with you. But the problem is that the real, like, tight-knit core group of people that you're working on and building on, the people who are in your Discord, the people who show up no matter what game you're playing, you know, that group of 150, 200 people that are showing up to watch your stream no matter what game it is, those people get so burned out if you're just making the same types of videos over and over and over again, you know? Like, you are marketing so many parts of yourself out there, like, not only your personality and not only the content that you're making is like for the videos, but also like hanging out in Discord, doing all those things. That's all part of your job too, to some degree, you know? And like, you have to sort of like feed everybody. Like, no one can go hungry if you want it
the
to really
quality
succeed.
of the content that I was putting out, I felt personally like was deteriorating. And I didn't like that relationship that I was forming, not only between myself in the game, but then myself in the community that I had built up. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some series that I really enjoyed building. There were some series that I really enjoyed creating. However, it got to the point where I was putting myself under an unreasonable amount of pressure, all
Yeah.
with the goal of me becoming a full-time content creator. It really wasn't that much fun, and I kind of burnt out hard on that. Now, again, that is the goal, is to do this as a full-time job and have this as my career, which
Yeah.
I'm still very much working towards. However, I still want to be able to enjoy what I'm doing. I still want to actually
Yeah.
sit down and just play video games without the thought, without
For me, this has been solved by me coming to the conclusion. This video is going to be really long compared to how long his video is. For me, it's about coming to the conclusion of I do not any longer care about how long it's going to take me to get to wherever I'm going to get to, and I don't care if I ever get there anymore. If it happens, that's great, and I love it. I'm going to try the best that I can. I'm going to do everything that I can to do it. But if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it, because if I'm not having fun, the content won't be good. That's all it comes down to. It's very simple. It's very easy to understand. If you can't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. In fact, I think think that the majority of everybody out there can understand that. They just don't understand how you go about being burned out and how you go about actually not liking the thing that you're doing, because everybody imagines, I would like to have a video that has a lot of views on it. I would like to have a video. I would like to have 1,000 videos that have a bunch of views on it. But you don't know how many 1,000 videos is. I've been making at least, I've taken about a week and a half off. I've been making at least a video a day for over 2 months now, while streaming at the same time, while posting on Discord, while talking to people, while getting to know people, while trying to make other forms of content such as shorts and little TikToks and things. There has been a lot of work that's been going on. This is all at the same time that I'm balancing a real life job as well. I'm also balancing me working in school and doing those things. I'm also balancing relationships with my friends and family, and my responsibilities around the house, cleaning up after myself, doing all the things that I need to do, feeding myself, taking care of myself. All of these things together create a pressure cooker of a situation. Like I only have 180 something videos or something like that, in that range. And that's like while making all of this content over, like think about doing that for 2 months. Not like I'm trying to complain a whole bunch, but like it's a lot, dude. I totally see how someone can burn out when they're only doing it with one video game, especially.
Without the fear of, am I wasting time that I could be putting out more content? And I think that's something that I had to step away and say, you know what? I just got to give it time. The second,
Yes.
and this was kind of a minor reason.
When you start thinking, am I wasting time by not putting out more content? That's not a good thought.
I really wasn't that big of a fan of Secrets of the Obscure. Out of all the expansions that Guild Wars 2 has put out, Secrets of the Obscure was probably my least favorite. I mean, when it initially was announced and when it launched, I had really high hopes, but I mean, I felt like the story was pretty short. The rift system was kind of fast and overly repetitive. I didn't find as much enjoyment in it as I had once previous with either expansions like Path of Fire, which I loved, or heck, even the Living World Season 4. That was absolutely my favorite. Great storytelling, great environments. There was just, it was really well done. Now, I know that there is some sentiment in the community that Secrets of the Obscure wasn't their favorite. It wasn't the best expansion that has ever come out, but it was something new. They tried something new, so I can't necessarily fault ArenaNet there. And while Secrets of the Obscure could be comparative in size, we'll say maybe, to other, we'll say full-fledged expansions, it felt segmented and so much smaller because of the time gating between releases. Like, it isn't like the End of Dragons expansion where you have access to everything all at once.
Yeah,
and you're able to just play through and go through.
I have not been there
Secrets
yet.
of the Obscure
I've heard
was
lots of
broken
bad
down
things.
into
It's
these
the worst
sections, and it was okay. They were almost isolated stories, which was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Like, I did actually really like the story. I like the different take on the game, but it just wasn't enough for me to be like, wow, this is so cool. Also, something that I
using a blue
personally
snowball. He's got good audio quality for a blue snowball.
Didn't like was that we transitioned from being quote unquote the commander to a wayfinder or the wayfinder, and I know that that's kind of like, again, this step in a new direction. Let's try something new. It didn't really stick for me. Like, I fought dragons and, gods and things like that.
I haven't seen one of those since I was like 14 years old. That was the first microphone I ever purchased.
And this felt like a different style that I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of. And again, this is just me being nitpicky. Let me just say that. It's me being nitpicky. One thing that I've talked about, especially in my Guild Wars 2 time, as well as being just a content creator in general, is that I really need to have a better idea of perspective. And I've talked about this a number of times, that really my MMO experience was only limited to essentially World of Warcraft. That was the game that I played the hell out of. That was, I put years and years into that game. And I really only played Guild Wars 2 otherwise. So I didn't really have too many outside experiences. And I think that was something that I needed to do on my own. I needed to make that time to go and play other games and other MMOs. Like, and I'm talking, I played Lord of the Rings Online, and I tried that game out, and that was fun. I did Path of Exile, which isn't really considered an MMO, but it's a game that I never played. And I loved it, had a lot of fun. Got to fly out to LA to try out Path of Exile 2. That was awesome. And now I'm in the throes of playing Final Fantasy XIV. And I'm loving it. I'm having this great time outside of Guild Wars 2. This one aspect incredibly helped me.
100%. And this is why I set myself up from the jump to be like, I am not this thing. I said this a long time. I am not a RuneScape YouTuber. That is not what I do. I cover lots of things. You guys are watching my journey through life. Whenever I get obsessed with a certain thing and I'm starting to think a lot about it, you will see a lot of content about that thing. That's what I do. When I find that there are things that you guys are interested in, I will make more content about those things to try to, like, cash in on some of that, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I do. You guys are watching this. It is a performance art piece of what my life is through this camera lens. The reasons that I reach out into the internet and the things that I do, that is what you're seeing through this camera lens. Because I feel like when you get trapped in being a video game, I make RuneScape YouTube videos, then your life becomes hell because you have to constantly think of new things to do in this game that lots of other people are competing for the time of your attention in. But if you just go, well, I'm a Cole Fleming YouTuber. Have I said my people know my last name? I'm a Cole YouTuber. Well, I'm the only one competing with myself. I'm the only guy out here doing what I do. So that's the best place to be with it, you know? That's what I think you want to do. If you have something to offer, bro, let it be yourself over everything else, because everything else will dry up, but you are evergreen, my friend.
Me out with my burnout, and my burnout was that I was focusing solely on Guild Wars 2. I didn't
just
expand my
horizons.
Right, I didn't add in these extra perspectives of other MMOs that could be either equal to or better.
And also, you just have to not care. This is what's so good about someone like Asmon or somebody, is that once you have millions of dollars, you could take years off if you wanted to, and it wouldn't affect you. But when you're at the level that someone like he or I is, like, $1,000 a month is like a lot of money to lose out on if you just take a month off from doing the YouTube thing, you know?
So that when I come back to Guild Wars 2, I can look at it a little bit more objectively and say, this was good. Or, this wasn't as good.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if I was still
like transmogs costing money before you're level 80. That's an insane thing.
Solely focused on Guild Wars 2 that I would have ever stepped outside of my comfort zone and played a game like Final Fantasy 14, because I had pre-misconceptions.
Is everything okay? Oh, I'm sorry. You need help? Kind of? Can you just sit down in bed and let me finish up this video real quick? Yeah. Cool. I'll take care of it after that, okay? Love you. She's upset. I can imagine why. Huh? Why are you yelling at her?
Exceptions about it, and I made a video about that where I talked about the things that I got wrong about the game. Also, big shout out to Galactic for sticking into it and making me try this other game. It's great. All in all, I still consider Guild Wars 2 to be a fantastic game, and it's one game that I
100% agree.
It's one of my favorites, absolutely. However, I needed to be able to step back and look at it from a more discerning eye by having experiences other than this one little isolated.
Dude, MMO players are so casually only knowing about one game. Like, it's so bizarre to me. Like, the amount of people who have put 50,000 hours into World of Warcraft and they've only played World of Warcraft. It's like, dude, you don't know anything about video games. You know a hell of a lot about this video game, but you don't know anything about video games, dude. Like, when you talk to some people and they act like certain things are like groundbreaking features, it's like, dude, this was happening in PlayStation 1, my friend. Like, this is not groundbreaking. This is like pretty standard, and you just think that it's amazing because you've only seen it here. It's pretty wild, dude. Like, I'm always kind of shocked by the fact that people get drawn into MMOs without actually being a gamer, because to me, MMOs are the ultimate in-game video game. Unbelievably expansive, super difficult to understand everything that's going on in, really hard to master, constantly challenging, but a lot of people just use them as these big sandbox simulators where they can run around and just play around in the flowers. else. And that's totally fine too, but it's so paradigm shifting in my brain to think about people that way because I am constantly looking for the next thing to smack me across the face and make me become a better gamer because that's what I care about is playing video games. But a lot of people just care about Guild Wars 2 or just care about World of Warcraft or just care about RuneScape. And that's such a different perspective that I don't have.
Isolated tunnel that I was living in. And lastly, I think this is probably one of the bigger reasons, probably right up there with burnout being my biggest reason, is that I wasn't playing the game properly. Now, I'm not saying I was like, like the worst elementalist in the world. I was all right. I wasn't the best. But it's more so that I wasn't taking the game for what it is supposed to be. And this game is supposed to be very casual friendly. This is supposed to be one of those MMOs that you can pick up and put down whenever you need to. Now, the problem that I had is that, again, I had that hyperfixation, and I wasn't taking breaks from the game and trying other things and then coming back. Playing the game as it should be. That's one of the features of Guild Wars 2 that I've highlighted in a number of videos, is that it's casual friendly. You can come back and never miss any of your progress. You're right where you were, and you don't fall behind either to power creep or all these other various features that you might see in other MMOs.
No, but you do forget how mechanics work, and you do forget how to play your class a little bit, and there is a little bit of a relearning curve that happens. Now, that being said, I took about a week break from the game, came back, everything was fine, but people always make fun of me because like, you act like you haven't played this game forever. You played it last week, and I'm like, I get that, guys, but like, I've been playing all these other MMOs, like I keep hitting like, E for my equipment instead of H, little things like that are just like learning curves every single time you come back. But I totally think he's right. If you play this game all the time nonstop, you will burn out. You do have to take little breaks from it.
Like I bring up the example of shortly before I decided to step away from Guild Wars 2 is that I completed Vision, the legendary trinket from Living World Season 4. And immediately, like the next week, I was already focusing on my next grinding target. Like what was I going to work on next? And that to me really wasn't all that exciting. It took all the wind out of the sail, and it's like, yep, now we're on to the next one. Here's some more work to do. And I didn't necessarily appreciate that, not only to me, but just even like my own time. It was very, very difficult for me to see that this was the way that the game was meant to be. Like, yeah, I feel that with Guild Wars 2, you're supposed to be able to dip in and out whenever you need to.
Yeah.
Play the game, have some fun, and then come back a little bit later.
This is why I like to put 2 5 to 6 hour sessions into a game per week. Whatever I'm doing, whether it be Maple Story, RuneScape, Guild Wars, all that thing. I like to do that, and then just keep the rest of my time free.
I feel like that's how the game should be played at least. But to me, that was something that I needed to do. I needed to step away because that's how the game is meant to be played. Now, to be sure, Guild Wars 2 is, again, you buy once and you're basically able to play as many hours as you want. And then
these little
you
micro zooms like in and out that he does. That's a really cool way to sort of make it look like there's motion going on.
And seeing that game, that always gave Guild Wars 2, in my mind, a lot more value than, say, for example, Final Fantasy, where you do have to pay for a subscription. Now, currently, their free trial is incredibly robust. It's most of the game.
Keeps your eye.
You don't have to pay until like the second to the last expansion release. It's ridiculous. But having said that, I understand that these games are meant to be a little bit grindy, and they are meant to be, putting all this time into it and do what you need to. And I think I was just looking at it as essentially work orders. This is what I got to do next. This is what I got to do next. And that's one thing that I've actually really appreciated about Final Fantasy, and then even creating videos about the game, is that all I have to do is just log in, follow the story, and kind of like talk about what I'm doing, and it works. And I enjoy it. I enjoy putting the videos together. And that was something that I really needed to do. I needed to play Guild Wars 2 right, which was, you got to take a break every now and then. And you should. There's plenty of great games out there. So I will say the biggest thing.
Maybe I should make a series where I play through Final Fantasy 14 and I talk about what I'm doing in the story, and I really pay attention hard to the story, and I start all the way over from the beginning, and I like really focus in, because I am a renowned Final Fantasy 14 story hater.
Changed when I logged in the other day to Guild Wars 2 is that I realized that I didn't.
I feel the way
wasn't
he.
as
Oh
good.
no, I feel the way he felt about. 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 Guild Wars 2 about Final Fantasy 14 when I played it. I felt like I was logging in every day and I was just pushing through the story, just trudging through so I could get to end game. Just like, oh god, here I am again. Now I'm in Heaven's Word. Now I'm in Stormblood. You know, I just felt like I was doing that constantly. Where it's like, okay, now I'm in the post patch for Stormblood. Like, just like I'm waiting for the next one to start. Like, when is the? How many more quests do I have? Oh my gosh, it's 12 more quests until I get there. Just like that kind of feeling was the way that I felt in Final Fantasy 14. It's so good. It's like, where, dude? Like, where, dude? The dungeons look really cool. Everything looks really cool, but it's such a slog, man. There's so much you need to do before you get to where everybody else
That
is.
I realized that I didn't have to choose. I didn't have to choose which MMO I was going to be playing primarily. I didn't have to pick
He's got
one
it.
over
He
the
did
other
it.
and then completely
He got
isolate
there.
myself.
Good for
I think
him,
that was
dude.
a mistake that I made, is that I needed to view the games the way that they should be. Now, don't get me wrong, Final
I
Fantasy
like this guy. I can tell you from personal experience that he is being honest with you, that at least he is speaking to things that are exactly what I think about inside of my brain, as well as someone who is also making content about the exact same video games that he's making content about. So I can tell you that he's being honest. You know what I mean?
is a great game, and it's one that I continue to play, and I will be playing on stream and throughout. However, what I needed to do about with Guild Wars 2 is not completely abstain from playing the game,
Heaven's
but
Word.
logging in from time to time, trying the game out,
Estinian.
doing some different things, maybe find a funky build that I want to talk about, or, things like that. Things that actually make me enjoy the game that much more. I needed to be able to do that, and I think that's something important that I was not doing. So what changed for me is when I logged in, I realized what I kind of already knew all along, is that the game is meant to be that, hey, I'm here when you need me, which is that was stunning for me. Now, where do we go from here? Well, honestly, I've been loving playing Final Fantasy 14 on stream. I love the story. I love the combat. I'm really enjoying all of these different things that the game brings. Epic clashes, highs, lows. It's all over the place. And I've only really scratched the surface of the game. I'm only in the first expansion. I'm only in Heavensward, and I've barely touched anything in there. Having said that, I am going to come back to making Guild Wars 2 videos. Updates on the various ongoings with ArenaNet and the balance patches, maybe talk about some fun builds that I like, point of view, opinion videos, things like that. I am going to be coming back and making that type of stuff here for this game, because I still love this game, and I still want to play it. To be honest, I really miss the drink coffee emote. So I think what I'm going to start doing is play through the rest of the story, and of course when John Thier Wilds comes out, I'm going to be playing that as well. All in all, I think that's going to be the best for not only my channel, but then also for me, is having a mix of both Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy. And honestly, I really think that will help me out from burning out way too much or way too fast. I just want to say I thank you for all of you who have been patient with me, who have been watching along for this journey that I've been taking right before your eyes. And I look forward to the future. As a reminder, I do stream Mondays and Fridays at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Currently, I'm streaming through Final Fantasy XIV. You might pop in, catch a dad joke, see me there. As I mentioned, I am currently going through Heavensward, the first expansion for the base Final Fantasy XIV game. And just recently, Guild Wars 2 did announce their next expansion, which is John Thier Wilds. I covered the whole thing right here. You can click that video. That's going to take you right to it.
Well, props to Caffeinated Dad Gaming. I know that people have, like I said, I know that there's like drama around everything in this world, but I think he seems like a genuinely decent guy. I think that he has, he is speaking a lot to a lot of the things that I think about as well. He has 40,000 subs. He's gotten most of them, I'm assuming, from playing Guild Wars 2. I could see how the allure of that would be pretty great. I feel that same allure. It's a very easy sort of niche to lean into, but there are just drawbacks to focusing on one single game forever that really melts you down as a content creator. I mean, look, there are very few people who've successfully stuck with only one game and been able to like eke it out forever. Even Muckluck uploads videos of other things very regularly. I mean, if you go to just his uploads, you will see that he regularly plays other games, and especially on stream and everything, it's very difficult to make content for one game. I don't think that you should berate people for doing that at all, and I think that he's just struggling with the growth of being a content creator. So good for him, man. Absolute elite work that he's going through, and I appreciate him and what he's doing. enjoy Final Fantasy 14, my friend. Maybe I'll make a video where I try to pay attention to that freaking storyline and actually, like, probably once I get medicated for ADHD. All right, fellas, that's the video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Everyone be safe out there. I gotta go help to clean up this bowl. I forgot about that until just now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.